Welcome to another Crystallize event. Thank you for joining today. Today we are joined by Bård and Didrik. You're, I guess, familiar with the guys, and we will be discussing about building long-form storytelling e-commerce. So today we released a new boilerplate that we will be showcasing. And of course, as you are familiar with by now, we are usually sharing live what we're doing, or you can just browse through and check out what we've done, basically. So I'm posting in the chat right now a URL so that you can follow and browse for yourselves and see what we've done. Guys, want to take the first stab at what we're going to be discussing today? What is long-form storytelling, what's a privilege, and why we should be taking a look and considering that? Maybe, Mr. Bård?
Yeah, sure. So maybe I'll start by sharing my screen.
Yeah.
First of all, if you want to check out the live implementation of the boilerplate with some demo data, you can go to story.superfast.shop. And that's what I'm sharing here now, which is basically a combination of really rich stories with images, videos, but also having, for example, if we check out this story about Iceland, we see that we have a cover video. We have some additional pages here where, it's a story about Iceland. A lot of richness in the storytelling, and of course this is what you can use to increase the engagement basically with your visitors, and actually a little bit of a history in terms of the long form storytelling, as in multimedia storytelling, was actually coined back in about 10 years ago, was it, by the New York Times, with this snowfall story that they released, and that was kind of a change from the media space, and it's about creating immersive storytelling. And if you bring this to the e-commerce space, it's basically about creating emotional experiences with beautiful pictures, good storytelling, and videos. And what we have done in this boilerplate is basically allowing you to build these kind of stories and combine it with products, so that you could not just show a product catalog, but more create an experience for your visitors. And this is an example of a product that I'm showing now. We will today see a little bit how you can customize this and launch this with your own data. And the boilerplate that we have built is open source, and it's available from our website. Didrik will show a little bit the actual code today.
Yes, I will.
Of course, we bring a designer to show code.
As always, we bring the designer to show off some code and put him on thin ice, just to watch him on live TV. Good.
That's good stuff, Didrik. And the implementation is in NextJS. We will show the deployment to Vercel, and it's implemented using a Jamstack strategy. So it's incremental builds and all those good things. But maybe you can take over a little bit, Didrik, and show how to get started with the boilerplate.
Well, of course. Let's see. I am just going to share my screen. Can you see it now?
I can.
Okay, good. Then me as well. I am on story.superfast.shop, and this is the story listing for our new boilerplate. As always, we have our own CLI, which has recently been updated. We released our beta version where we've added some, what I would say, good changes. So let me just zoom in a bit so it's not that small, like this. So what we are going to do is start off by fetching are Crystallize boilerplates. And like I said, it's npx at crystallize/CLI. For this project, we're just going to call it story. So this is the product folder. And then we're going to click enter. You're going to see we are going to fetch some libraries and some data. It takes some time, but soon we'll get some menu options up here. And here you can see that now we have 4 different options to choose from. Last time I talked, it was about the React Native beta example on how you can create omni-channel solutions with one tenant. We usually talk about the NextJS complete eCommerce boilerplate, which is our furniture store. And that is also what we have under Gatsby. So it's just 2 different frameworks for the same concept, which is furniture shop. What we are going to talk about today is the NextJS Content and Commerce React boilerplate. Remember, designer. So we're going to click this. We're going to start out with our own demo tenant, which is called Voyage. I'm going to recommend starting with Voyage still, since this is our first initial release. Everything is molded to this tenant, and Bård is going to go through some of the information architecture soon on how the shapes are built. But let's go ahead, click on Voyage. This is going to initialize a project, download all the dependencies. So this will take, well, probably a minute or so. And while that runs, I think, Bård, maybe you want to show some information architecture?
Yeah, sure. I'll share my screen now. So you should be able to see.
I'll stop.
Yep, do that.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it looks good.
Perfect. So what I'm showing, this is the admin interface to Crystallize, and I am connected to the Voyage tenant, which is what we have built here to showcase basically this long-form storytelling. I will start by just showing the shapes, because we have created this combination of shapes that is tailored to all stories, basically. And the product shape is quite straightforward. We have a summary, which is a rich text. We have features, which is the what do we call the component here? Properties table, which is basically title, key value, key value. We'll show that in the front end also. And a description, which is a paragraph collection. And that, again, is a repeater of title, rich text, and videos and or images. Folder, we have modified a bit. So we have added a hero image and a hero video. And we have the title, brief, and body. And that is to build out, for example, this main folder called stories here, which has a cover video to start with.
I'm going to go into how we separate the two and how we value them. We always value a video before an image. So
for the actual stories, we have structured it with the title, with a byline, which is a relation. This is where we add the authors. We have a hero image, we have a hero video, an intro, and the actual story. And the story, again, is a repeater, and I'll show the content for this. And we have injected a relation to featured products. And this is how you can inject the products you want to sell in the different stories. If we move to the actual catalog, we have used a similar setup as we did in the furniture boilerplate. Where we have a front page, which basically has a well, I guess we actually don't use this in this boilerplate. You fetch the grid directly, if I'm not wrong.
I do. I fetch by ID.
So don't think about the front page. We have a folder for stories, and this is the main folder / stories with the cover video and basically the title and a very, very short introduction. If we go into the actual stories, like let's do coffee from seed to cup. here we see that the setup is, we have the title, we have the authors, the hero image, and then we have the story behind a good brew. And then the actual, let's call it pages of the story, because we've implemented full page storytelling here, is a combination of a title, a brief description, and mostly images. For this coffee story, we have images that we tell the story about, how to brew coffee, how they're grown, and we have a bunch of products that are related here. Didrik will show how you basically can modify that and how we do the presentation of the products injected in the storytelling. And actually, the setup here is kind of becoming more and more popular, I would say, with brands like I'm not sure if you checked out Patagonia, which is quite a popular clothing brand. They do a lot of storytelling, and they actually produce films also. So they have like I think like a 70 minutes documentary, to create the experience, and they create the experiences to get out there. That's kind of what they're pushing. Another story, Iceland Adventure, similar setup. We've just added a cover video, and we have injected also in the middle of the story another video. So Didrik can show, I guess, how that looks. So basically, it's a pretty straightforward setup, and the storytelling is mainly based on the repeating paragraph collection. And the setup here is that one paragraph is basically one page in the storytelling. I guess that is the main overview of the boilerplate, the way it is configured from a information architecture and modeling standpoint. Maybe you can showcase a little bit more on the actual storytelling. We maybe start with the Iceland story, how that looks in the front end, and then take it from there.
I'll give it a go. I'll jump into the fun stuff. Let me see.
I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, here we go. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, looks good.
All right, so I cheated a bit, but so everything is installed. I use my CLI, so I've installed my new boilerplate, which is under /story, like we named our folder. So I'm just going to go in here, and I'm going to start my project locally. So let's see. So now we have all the packages, we have everything we need. So it should be to just go to localhost 3000. And here we go. And you can see this is the first iteration. I do have some warnings that I need to figure out at some point, but we're not going to do that live today. Today, we're just going to show how this works and how it looks.
Maybe you can actually show the front page. I didn't show that, which is a grid.
That is a grid. And like you said, this is a grid that we just fetch by ID instead of actually using a front page document and using a grid relation. So this means that every time I would like to change this grid, I need to do a deployment. But since we are using Vercel, deployments are as fast and as easy as basically going in and changing the grid. But I'll show you guys. Here we have the front page, which is a grid consistent of both stories and products. And the way we usually do this is that you can see inside here in the code, we have a folder called microformats under components. Let's start in index here. This is our index page. So this is what we see. In this boilerplate, we basically have almost everything inside the same file to make it ease of use. You don't have to navigate through a big project folder. Here you can just look at the index page and you basically have everything that you need. The only thing that we do have that we share is the microformats of components. So let's see, we import the microformats here. I'll go into how that works.
Maybe you can also mention here that the way we've done the queries here is that is a little bit different than the other boilerplate because we are very explicit on the data we fetch.
Yes, we are. Here we basically have exploded the whole query. Instead of using fragments that are shared by all our queries, we have explicitly said that these are the fields that we need. We don't want anything bloated. So this is actually board went in to say, okay, I want the IDs, I want the rows of this grid, instead of just, okay, give me everything like in REST API. Here we have cherry-picked all the key properties that we need. So as you can see, here we fetch the grid by ID. We get all the rows, and basically, I'm not going to go through the whole query, but we get the ID just to have reference to it. But we get all the columns, and since we do know what kind of content we have created, we fetch the document by component ID, which board showed in the shape.
And this is, of course, to reduce the data we transfer, so that we know what data we need. So we just build a query to specifically fetch that.
Exactly, and thus making the internet a greener place.
Making faster.
And faster. Yes, so like I said, we have everything in one view. Here we have the query, our GraphQL query. If we go a bit further down, we'll see that, okay, here we have something called meta, which is basically generating all our metadata, our OG tags and Twitter tags. You can see I already have some to-dos that we're still going to update this. This is the first iteration of our content commerce. So updates will follow. But it's a good starting point. And as you see, usually if you have used our NextJS boilerplate, you're used to the layout. Layout is basically the wrapper that confine our content. And we have our microformats. So this is basically all the code in this view that we need to create this page, our index page. That is because inside of microformats, we have an index page. Usually we render stuff based on type. So it's either a document type, a folder type, or a product type. But in this boilerplate, we have chosen to use basically the shape name as an ID. Because a shape might have different components or different components IDs, and we want to display them differently. So back to the information architecture that board showed. Whenever we get the product shape, this is what we are going to return back to our index page, which looks like this. So this is our microformat product page, basically.
I noticed the video is playing there also. So you have the combination of the beautiful images, you have the products, and also the video
Yes.
playing there.
And we'll go into that as well, because that is the microformat of the story. And here you can see we have the index page. This is basically just morphing into what kind of component that you want to show or you are requested. And here we have the story, and same concept. Everything is in the same JS file, even all the styling. And here we have it. So like I said, we have both a component for a video, but also a component for images. And we have chosen here to, every time that you do have a video, we're going to show that instead of the image. If you don't have a video, hopefully you have an image. So we're going to show that instead. But every time we upload a video, that is what we are going to play. Even if it's inline here, or if it's on top of the fold here. But let's go into, which one do you want to talk about? Is it Iceland or Coffee?
I take the Iceland one because that's a combination of videos and also images.
It is. Even though everything here uses the same page, of course. Let's see, in here, story. A bit longer, this file, because it's more information. Here we actually fetch everything that we have inside of this shape. So by ID, we fetch the title, hero, and hero video, etc., etc. All the components that consist of this shape. So you can see that the query is pretty long, but in the Next.js boilerplate, the query is actually longer. It's just that we use fragments instead, that we import and fetch everything that we need, or basically everything. We have some oh, now I lost my trail. I was going to show, yes, one thing I want to talk about is back to what I am going to do at the end, and that's doing a deployment. But since this is connected to our Crystallize PIM, we need incremental builds. Right, Bård?
Yeah, I think incremental builds are good. And of course, we've done a couple of live streams on what Jamstack is and how it works. But it's basically we're pre-generating static files on the edge CDN.
Yes.
So it's ridiculously fast.
It is ridiculous fast. And basically what we do just to revalidate every time we publish something to the PIM. And Håkon might arrest me here, but that's at least what I did, and then it works. I added revalidate 1, so basically true. And then it works.
Means that every time you serve a page, it will check if there's an update and regenerate. So, and it will serve the stale version. So you will always get the super fast version, and it will update in the background.
Yes.
What we will do here going forward is also connected to our webhook, so that we, whenever a product or any piece of content changes, we will automatically, based on events, also pre-generate these URLs, so that it's not based on visitors, but actual event changes, which will make it actually consume a lot less CPU cycles in the front end also.
Good.
Maybe you can show how we built up the story, and also what we do to inject the products there to.
Yeah. So what I want to show off next is basically our story and how it is created. Like Bård said, we have our body, which are based on paragraph collections, which are basically repeaters. It's a repeater of a title, a lead, or not a lead, but a body, basically paragraphs, and some media, either video or images. So as you can see here, we have for each story paragraph, which are, have you shown the content basically? Because then we can show it in the PIM.
Show the full experience of the Iceland story. So scroll down. Oh.
So what we show first here is, I'm going to switch back and forth, is everything above the map here. It's the hero image or video, it's the title, it's the author relations. And here we are into what I'm talking about, the story paragraph, the paragraph collections. For each paragraph collection, we have an image, which we here have used as a background. Once again, very important, I can't stress this enough because I talk about it in every live stream, is that don't use the CSS property cover. Keep the image in the DOM so Google can fetch it and people with a screen reader can get some information about it. Use object fit instead. It has exactly the same advantages as the CSS background image property. So this is an image in the DOM where we use the object fit cover. We display our title and our body text. We also use something which I think is pretty nifty. It is, let's see, snap. Oh, I guess that was inside the story here. Snap. Yes. It's something that is pretty new to CSS. It's scroll snap. So instead of scrolling the regular behavior where you determine the velocity and how much you scroll, determine on the speed on the wheel, we control the snapping. So every time I scroll on my mouse wheel now, we snap to the next paragraph collection and we change the image. So this is basically just one big container with height 100% of the window screen. And then we snap to each for every scroll, like so. And you can see beautiful images, beautiful paragraphs, and then we have products. And this is product relations that we have added to our article in Crystallize. The way we do it is that, okay, based on how many paragraphs we have, we divide it by 2, and in the middle of the article, we inject our product or our featured products. Let's see, back here, down here. If I would like to have it in the start, I could just, well, I could basically just do this. Can't I? Here comes the live coding. Let's see. This is where everything can go wrong. Will go wrong. Danger zone, exactly. Oh, I'm missing a section, I guess. Well, I could have it on the top, but I'm not going to do it now. But I am injecting it at the bottom as well. So even though based on the article, it could be 3 paragraphs long, I will still inject the featured product in the middle of the story. And this is one way or one advantage that Bård talked about, that you can sell your stories and sell it in a more unique way, or talk about the product instead of just saying, buy my stuff. Still scrolling down for each paragraph until you reach the end, where you once again show off our products that we have related by in Crystallize relations.
And here, if you scroll up, you see the paragraph collection, how you've implemented that with the properties.
Yes, this is the property tables that we talked about. In Crystallize, this is basically just key value pair, like Bård said. And I use the title of the table, or for the property table. And these are the key value pairs. And basically just another way of, I could use a paragraph collection here as well. But I think the proper way, an easier way to use, I'm losing my trailer, to create this layout that I was looking for was by using property tables. And this is the description, which once again, paragraph collections. Consists of an image, title, and a body. Let's see. Anything else you guys would like me to cover?
How do you do this live then?
Oh yes, almost forgot. Like I talked about with incremental builds and stuff. We use Vercel for our deployments. I'm gonna fetch my terminal here again. And basically what you need to do to get this out publicly, like you guys have now, we have it on shop.superfast, is to use Vercel. All I do is type Vercel. It is a global package that I have installed. And setup deploy. Yes, I want to use the Crystallize account, of course. And you can see that we have already set it up a project. It found a project that is already called story. Let's do this. And here we go. So I have a preview. I didn't do any changes though, so we don't know if I actually deployed. So you're just gonna have to take my word on it. It says preview.
And if you want to deploy this to production, take over the story.superfast.shop domain. You just do -- prod there, yeah.
Yes, just like this. And that's basically it. So that's how fast you can get from starting with a boilerplate and getting it out to production. Of course, we have cheated a bit with having all the content, but you can also use our demo tenant just to see how we set it up and what we actually want to display or to tell our story.
And I think we will see more of this going forward in terms of e-commerce experiences. It's kind of what Red Bull also did back in the day. This sugar drink, and it's all about storytelling. And of course, they're in the extreme sports where they do, with Red Bull Media, they do a lot of feature videos, storytelling. And of course, they do product placement in the video. That's kind of their thing. And if you go to Patagonia.com, you can also check out how they kind of use storytelling to create a universe around their brand, and that kind of e-commerce setup works really well. Of course, it demands a lot from you as a brand in terms of content creation and curation of that, but in the end, you really have the possibility to build a very strong brand.
But this can also be, like, on top of my mind, it can be like a really nice way to showing products that are actually, you know, have making a brand, and it offers a few products, but I want to market that beautifully, right? So things like what Apple is doing with their iPhones. So they have a really beautiful story with content. This is photos that you can take. This is how we make our lenses and things like that. And it create a beautiful story, and you have only one product showcasing there.
Yes, so it's something more, and hence the term rich content or rich products.
Looks good. Nice designing.
Well, thank you. That was actually me.
Hello, YouTube.
It's like Red Bull talking about extreme sport, and it's our our stream designer talking about code. It's in the same scope.
Yep.
Yeah, no, but I think this is what I want to show at least. Any questions, anything more you would like me to go into? Of course, if there are any questions, you can just ask in our community channel in our Slack.
Sure thing, or reach out in email. We're always available everywhere, right? And maybe we'll have an update on that, like Mr. Board said, with maybe showing how we can attach the webhooks to redeploy basically, or, you know, show the changes that we make in the content as well. So yeah. And
of course, this boilerplate we will actively maintain also as an alternative to the furniture demo example, which is more of a product catalog with some blogs or stories. But this kind of storytelling with really rich media is kind of an alternative form. And if you have any suggestions or wishes for kind of what you would like to see in the boilerplate, feel free to reach out or add a comment.
Definitely.
Awesome. So yeah, I think this is it. Keep in touch for the next live that we're going to be having next week, next Thursday. Until then, we wish you well, I guess. Bye-bye, everyone. And